Well, good evening, everyone. Another episode here on Positively Osceola of our coffee club. And like I say, every single time we talk, this is not a prop, folks. This is real coffee. And for some of us, real hot chocolate. Or no, cold chocolate. Chocolate milk.
Chocolate milk.
Picked up on it. It's a chocolate thing. So we'll chat a little while, and we'll have some fun here. But so how you guys doing tonight?
Good. Real good.
Cool hanging out with you. Glad you could stop everything else you're doing and do this awesomely important moment to hang out with us. We keep it pretty serious here, don't we? So we'll do the introduction. Hey, I've got a little thing I want to make sure I play before. We'll make it official, the official start. So I'm going to play this thing real quick, and then we'll make it official. We'll hit it, okay? Here we go.
All right.
Got to have little things like that, right? Just little things.
It's very fancy, like the whole little.
I dig it.
With the.
It's kind of cool.
Is that chocolate?
It's cooler than I am. So
is that chocolate that's being sprinkled?
I don't know. I think it's maybe like a nutmeg or a cinnamon nutmeg blend.
Okay.
That's just silly. Hey, in all seriousness, thanks for being here, Diana Marrero-Pinto, the executive director with Kissimmee Main Street, and Angela Mikolajek. I want to make sure I say you're the downtown business liaison, correct? The title?
The small business liaison. That's correct.
There you go. Cool. Well, I'm really glad. I know last minute, but I'm glad you guys joined us tonight because, and I don't want to just talk COVID related tonight for sure. But reality is, I'm not sure that anything has been affected more by the pandemic than small businesses have, and organizations that are directly tied to small businesses. I think we're able to see those effects. Some of those are some businesses are not going to come back from this stuff, and some like we spoke before we started, some are accruing different skill sets really that maybe will be beneficial later on. But so Diana, before we start too much further into this, why don't you explain to people who may not know what Kissimmee Main Street is, what kind of organization it is, and what you guys do.
Okay, so Kissimmee Main Street is a 501c3. We're a nonprofit organization. Not all Main Streets are 501c3s, but those that are, we all operate under the same 4 pillars, if you will, and they involve maintaining the history of the downtown that they represent, supporting the businesses, the economic vitality of the area that they're in, the events that bring foot traffic to the downtown to ensure that we're creating relationships between the organizations and the businesses. And then last but not least, the organization itself as a 501c3, as a nonprofit, and maintaining, good records and all that goes with that. So more than anything, you find Main Street's focus on the history, and then the events and supporting the businesses go hand in hand.
Gotcha. And so Angela, why don't you explain your part in that organization? So how do you, I'm gonna guess you have quite the connection with the small businesses directly.
Right. So yeah, Diana and I both kind of wear a lot of hats because it is just the two of us, and we are charged with the care of anything any of the merchants within the entire CRA district need from us. So we do everything from handling marketing and advertising for the businesses, but my specific job title as small business liaison is there to act as a middleman essentially for the small business owners to the city. So if they need assistance with anything from permitting, signage, zoning, anything like that, I'm there to help answer questions. And if I don't know them right off the top of my head, I get those answers for them. Right. But I mean, it's really just relationships. And I'd like to think of, especially in the downtown area, as a family. As cheesy as that might sound to someone, we do operate that way, and we are on call. Diana will, I'm sure, agree, 24/7. It doesn't matter the hour. It doesn't matter the day of the week. Our merchants calling us and we answer. And sometimes it's us calling on them and they answer. And it's a really cool relationship between Main Street and the business owner And it's situational. There's not a textbook that defines what we do and don't do. It's just what they need. We do our best to serve them.
So when you were saying that, my thought was, and any one of you guys can certainly jump in. So do you see businesses that, or business owners or leaders that are already established, have that knowledge base of how to start a business, how to bring a business that might already exist into a downtown scenario? Maybe they've not ever had a brick and mortar situation. Do you find new businesses like that coming to you and saying, I need some help figuring out how to get all this stuff right? Is that what do you also do that for businesses?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
We find, I was just going to say, we find that there's no cookie cutter one way set of ways that we find people, to be honest with you, because even the established businesses that have been around for years and years, we have Makinson Hardware that's been there for over 100 years,
right.
The kids who have been there for over 40 years. So we have established businesses, but even their way of doing business, especially now during COVID, was challenged. So they had to learn new things. And that's where we step in. So wherever they are, we've been finding that some of the businesses, most recently, we just had like a diet style business open that was selling their product from their home that is now has a brick and mortar in the downtown. So it can be that type of business. It can be a business that, has gone through all the channels at the SBA, has their business, their business plan set up, and they're just coming to us for some information on those zoning things that Angela was mentioning. But the honest truth is that there's no one way that they come to us. Sometimes they go and they're sitting at Matador, or they're sitting at Nadia's, and they mention, I've always wanted to start a business. And it's like, well, go talk to Main Street. They'll be able to help you. And we get them at the very onset. Other times, they're already putting up their signs, and Angela and I are like kamikaze. We're going to go in there. We've seen some paper up. We're going to come in and we're going to ask you how we can help. So again, there's no one way, but I do find that we're going to meet them where they are. That's for sure.
I like it. So it's a real organic kind of relationship you build with them then.
Mm-hmm.
So based on, let me go this way first. So how have you kind of evolved or morphed, or I guess pivoted would be the best way to say it. How have you pivoted kind of post or during COVID-19? How have you pivoted? Because I know that a lot of things you also did were event-based, and great events, super events, and they were, they always seem to be pretty, correctly spaced through the calendar. They work really well for everybody. So how have you pivoted without that thing in play right now?
I'll let Angela handle how some of the changes we've had to do as a result of COVID and what we're doing differently now.
Sure.
To touch on the events, just an example or a couple, we typically have a, back to school event, which is like a block party, style event, where people come out and there's different vendors set up and whatnot. And obviously we couldn't do that the way we traditionally do this year, but we still wanted to make sure that we got school supplies, into the hand of local children, while still making sure that there was benefit to our merchants to help them advertise and get their names out there. So we set up and did a drive-through this year. We had a lot of great help from the community, from KPD specifically, where we just had the cars come through. We handed them their book bags, and inside those book bags, the merchants were free to put any coupons or advertisements that they wanted to share. But we were able to distribute over 1,000 book bags still this year to kids, and we couldn't do it the way we typically do, but we still, the end purpose or the end goal, we were still able to meet. Everybody, I think, pretty much knows that Boo on Broadway is one of our largest and best events that we typically get to host every October, that unfortunately we can't do the way we typically do this year. And nobody is sadder about that than Diana and I. But sure. We are still trying to pull the very best parts of that event, the one that we seem to get the most positive feedback about. And we're turning those into virtual experiences this year. So we're going to still be hosting costume contest, canine costume contest, fun kind of hide and seek things throughout the downtown that people will still be able to participate in and win prizes, and encourage them to get into our downtown businesses after the fact. So we're just rolling, we're adapting, improvising, and doing the best we can.
I like it. So I mentioned earlier, or I asked you earlier, so you mentioned back to school supplies, and by the way, that was a really the the drive-by back to school. What a nice, cool, breezy day that was. Not just a little warm out that day.
Enthusiasm is strong with you.
Yeah, I almost passed out.
I'm telling you,
Right.
it was smoking hot that day.
It was
But it was a
so
great
hot,
event.
so hot.
So
Very
It was
hot
a little
day.
warm both days.
would there be any extra backpacks around these days if anybody was in need of such a thing?
Yes, we have extra backpacks and supplies that were left over. We've gone through the wait list that we had, inviting people to come pick them up. And we put on our Facebook that people can reach us at info@KissимmeeMainStreet.org if they are in need of backpacks. But yes, we still have some. And one of the things that, and I want to take a step back and mention something that's so important to me to share whenever I'm given the opportunity. One of the things that makes our Main Street different is that coming into Main Street, one of my main goals was recognizing that, this is a business community, but it's a community nonetheless. And there are communities that have basic foundational needs. People need to be heard. They need to be validated. They need to know that they have a place and they have a say. And one of my primary goals coming in was to meet with these merchants on a face-to-face, one-on-one basis. Angela and I go out to the downtown. We go into their businesses. We talk to them. We ask them if they need anything. And if it weren't for taking the time to do that, we wouldn't have been as successful as we are now during COVID. It was because we established those relationships, and when it went far beyond just, marketing and promotions and helping them with the grant applications. It was that trust that was established, and that, like you called it, that organic way of meeting somebody where they are and letting them know that we're here to help them and that we believe in their success and that we're truly vested in this, because the core of the city of Kissimmee is the historic downtown. And that's our heartbeat. And if we don't take care of that and we don't ensure that that is strong, then we're only asking for a city that's going to fall apart. So it's definitely very important that our downtown is respected and established, and that economic vitality encompasses more than just, coming to shop, but understanding that these people are your neighbors and that they want to be a part of the neighborhood. And so, having said all that, I wanted to mention that back to the backpacks, whatever backpacks that we do not give away, we have begun an annual, we do Thanksgiving dinner downtown. And as part of that event, these backpacks are then used to give to the homeless. And we put inside of them basic care needs. We put, and this is your downtown merchants that are working together. It's called a Thanksgiving Dinner with Dignity. Pushan Savion was kind of like the brains behind this. It was his idea, the heart, if you will, to bring people into a Thanksgiving dinner that was a dinner. It wasn't a buffet. It wasn't something where they got a cold sandwich. So Felix from Three Sisters, Pushan, John from Vintage Vino, that whole Dakin Avenue corridor, they get together and they cook the whole nine. And then the other merchants come together and they play host. So these types of things have established, a connection between our merchants and the greater community as it is. So these backpacks are not just, we got these backpacks, we're giving them back to school. Obviously the kids need them. Obviously that's a great way to utilize them, but whatever's left over will even go further into helping this community.
Nice. That's awesome. So maybe this one goes to you, Angela. So let's push past, and I want to come back and maybe toward the end we can talk a little bit about Boo on Broadway again, how you may have evolved some of that, if you want to share a little bit, if you don't mind. Well, so Angela, so let's push past COVID-19. I know even sometimes it's hard to get vision on that because we're so wrapped up in the day-to-day. How do we make things work? But how do you see 2 years from now, we look at the only COVID we see is in our rearview mirror. How do you see the downtown looking at that point? Because I tend to think that in America, when you hold something down that's not wanting to be held down, once you let go of that thing, she popped out. She'll pop back. I'll keep talking. Won't be able to I have to put this question to her again. What I'm going to ask her is, how, after we get through this, and we will. There she is. Let me grab her back in here. Welcome home.
Sorry.
It's all good. It's all good.
Sorry. I apologize. I missed your question. I lost you for a minute.
Yeah, I giggled through it. I was meandering anyway. So what's it look like in 2 years when we're looking at COVID-19 in our rearview mirror and you're seeing the businesses? I think we're going to see a prosperous time. But why don't you tell us what you think it's going to look like downtown when we get through this particular scenario? She's pondering.
I think she froze on us.
She did.
Well, right now, what's happening, just so that you know, right now what's happening is that Main Street is taking a front row in helping and assisting them with their actual grant applications. So Angela and I we have some that we just provide the information to, point them to the resources, but then there's others that require a little bit more hand-holding and need assistance with the application. That's where we're at now. Once we're past COVID, I think we're going to go back to a time that we were seeing it right before COVID, where, you know, we were not seeing empty storefronts. We were having businesses opening time after time, day after day. And it was an exciting time for our downtown. We were figuring out ways to bring people through the downtown, like we did with our first Friday event, where we had some of the merchants stay open late. And now more people were coming in the evening hours to the downtown. So if we look past COVID, I can only imagine, because people have been locked up for so long, the amount of people who are going to want to be out and about, and the events that we can create to make that happen, and the ways that we can bring individuals to these businesses.
Hello. It's all good. We live in a world of internet shared by many. For those of us who may have a tad bit of control issue, it's unfortunate, but I can't control it either. So anyway, so we were just talking about how it looks once we get past this. How do you see downtown flourishing? How do you see the whole dynamic of downtown Kissimmee? How do you see that once we get past all this?
Yeah, hopefully I don't repeat anything that was said while I was cut out, and so I apologize in advance if I do. I think that there will be a new normal. I think, like we were saying earlier, there's going to be some things that the merchants and the community kind of had to adapt to that they weren't prepared for, but then came to realize actually worked, you know, in their favor, and being things that they hold on to. For instance, a lot of restaurants that didn't previously offer delivery might see now that was something that really, really works out well, and, you know, kind of helped business out, and will stick with that. But I think that going forward in 2 years from now, I think everyone will be much better prepared. They'll know now from the experience of going through COVID that things can happen really unexpectedly, and that they have to have plans in place that, you know, there's no reason that they would have ever expected to have to brace for something like this before. But now that they've gone through it and they see the impact that it can have, I see a lot of business owners being a lot more cautious. I see them being much better prepared. And God forbid something like this ever happened again, they would, you know, have a better plan in place to get through it. Hopefully that never happens. But I definitely am the type of thinker, especially where our merchants are involved, that there's always a lesson to be learned. There's always a silver lining, no matter how dark the cloud is. I think a lot of people have seen more than anything through this, you know, who your friends are and who you can lean on. And you've got people that are there for you and will lift you up. And on those bad days, and I mean, let's just be honest. Sometimes they have bad days where they're like, I don't know how I can do this. But they call out a neighbor, they call out, you know, the business next door, they call Diana or myself, and we get through it. We get through it one day at a time. And I think we're building much stronger relationships community-wide. And that's one good takeaway from this.
Yeah, I agree big time. I think what one of the things that we've seen is that how much we need, and you're kind of saying this really, how much we need and rely on other businesses to make it all work. It's not like it's, if you have 50 businesses, you know, whatever, if you had 50 businesses lined up, it's not 50 separate businesses. I mean, those businesses need to have, I mean, otherwise there'd be no purpose of having them in one area, right? I mean, you feed off each other's energy, you feed off each other's drive. I learn when I'm able to sit with, if I sit with 10 businesses, you know, with my coffee, of course, I'm trying to listen to other business leaders, because fact is, you need to know, you know, as much of what's working for their business as what's working for yours.
Absolutely.
I mean, I know you guys see that all the time, and so it's real evident to you. But I think some of us that maybe don't see as many businesses every day, it's been a really a big awakening. I mean, I don't know how sometimes I wonder how we made businesses work, or how we made business work without the reliance upon others. Sometimes, you know, I don't know how we all did that, but do you want to share anything about your Boo on Broadway? Do you want to spread some of that, or would you rather wait?
No, we're actually going to be unveiling it here pretty soon. So we'll share some of the components of it and some of the different things. Angela will be my backup because when I get all into it, I tend to, you know, forget some things. So, so what we did with Boo on Broadway is we took the basics of what Boo on Broadway is. And anybody who hasn't been to Boo on Broadway is about 5,000 people in our downtown. And it's one huge block party. It is, you know, entertainment. It is music. It is dancing in the streets, and it's candy. And it's, you know, costume kids. It's a blast and people love it. It's one of the most, you know, expected and sought after, you know, events on every year. People are looking forward to it, and not just the people who come, but our merchants themselves. So when we looked at the idea and we met with the city and we talked to the board and we did everything we could to try to see how we could make 5,000 people social distance in the downtown with masks on, and there was just no way. The math was not in our favor. Right. so we realized we had to come up with something different. So we took the pieces of Boo on Broadway and we said the kids love the candy, right? And, you know, the parents love the family entertainment and getting together. And, you know, our merchants love the fact that there's this big spotlight on the downtown. So we took those pieces and we figured out a way, and we brainstormed ways that we can do it virtually. So some of the things we are working on and have come up with is we're going to do 31 days of sweet treats. So we will have coloring sheets that will be available at Kissimmee Main Street, that will be available online at our website, which is, you know, scrolling across the bottom, and also available at some of the merchants' places themselves. So you can go to the establishments, our office, or online. You can get the sheet, color it. Children from ages 4 to 14 can color the sheet and return it back to Main Street. So we have to have the hard copy. Once you return the hard copy, your child is entered into a drawing, and we don't care what the drawing looks like because it's not a coloring contest. It's a raffle. It's more of an engagement into the process and the virtual Boo, if you will. And so the idea is once they're in the drawing every day for 31 days in October, we will pull a name from the raffle and the winner will receive a basket of sweet treats. This is sponsored by Remax.
Premier Property. Daisy Lopez. Yep.
So it's sponsored by Remax. It's also sponsored by the city of Kissimmee. So there will be candy in there. There will be art activities in there. So that's one of the components of the virtual Boo. Another is the Canine costume contest that's sponsored by Sit and Pretty in downtown Kissimmee. So what we're doing is on the 13th and the 31st of the month, if you submit a picture of your canine in a costume, you're entered into a drawing to receive a free grooming for your pet at Sit and Pretty, and some really cool, you know, treats for your dog and toys for your dog. So that's another component that people really enjoyed last year because we had a canine costume, a critter contest last year that we wanted to do virtual this year. Then we're doing a family costume contest, and that is sponsored by Broadway Pizza Bar. That is sponsored by help me with the gaming. I always forget their full name.
Rules Gaming.
House Rules Gaming. House Rules Gaming. So you're going to get a pizza pack. You're going to get Candyland Design is another sponsor of that. You're going to get a cupcake decorating kit, and you're going to get a game that you can play with your family. So again, this is another way to engage families, bring them to the downtown, have them be a part of this. We also have a really fun, silly, quirky, you know, game called Boney and Clyde. So we have two skeletons, a female and a male.
You guys worked hard.
And we're going to be hiding them. We are going to be hiding them throughout the downtown, and you will find them, spot them, take a selfie with them. This is for couples, and the couple that wins will win a couple's basket that will include a gift certificate to one of the downtown establishments for night out dining. It'll include a his and her couple's haircut for a male and a female. It will include a massage. It will include a bottle of wine. So that will be sponsored by the different merchants who are giving us the gift certificates. And then, did I miss anything? Our picture parade. Our picture parade is just that. We want to have people send pictures of themselves dressed in costumes, and then weekly we will form just a video to celebrate. You know, maybe it's a past picture of you at Boo, maybe it's your current costume that you would have worn this year. Whatever it is, get it to us so that we can, you know, celebrate as you know, as best we can. The last thing that we're doing which is super cool. It's going to be
going to forget that one.
It's going to be super cheesy. So that is our Main Street mystery. So our merchants will be going live and acting and reading a mystery. That will happen every Saturday night in October. Our merchants will go live and read a mystery that people can chime in and solve for chances to win prizes.
Cool.
I think that was everything.
Are you sure?
Yes, it's a jam-packed October. We got to make up for it.
So I'm sitting here listening to you. I'm thinking you two were sitting in the room and giggling at every idea. After you realized it was awesome, you giggled for a couple minutes.
we do that
a lot of brainstorming together.
Well, that's good. That makes it fun. So let's. You said a lot of things, obviously. So sometimes that can be a blur on how people can get connected. So again, I know it's scrolling on the bottom, but let's make sure people know who can participate, how they can participate, and when should they get ready to participate, just so we make sure they get this.
So if they go to KissimmeeMainStreet.org and they go under the event tab, they'll see the flyer there with all the different components that we have to Virtual Boo, and it's explained there. In addition to that, there are individual flyers that will go up. Angela's placing some of them on Facebook as they become available. So we'll also have them on Instagram. So we hope to get it out, where people will see it. And of course, utilize the help of Positively Osceola to get that word out there.
Sure. And
our merchants obviously share it also. But best to go to KissimmeeMainStreet.org under the events tab. And right now, if you went there right now, you'd see the overall flyer that has the different components broken down. Not as in detail as you'll see on the individual flyers, but at least you'll get an idea. Angela, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was just going to say, we also encourage anybody who wants to keep up to date with everything going on in downtown Kissimmee beyond this particular event, but just week to week, specials, different things going on at the different businesses. They can send us an email at info@KissimmeeMainStreet.org, provide us their email address. Every week, we publish what we call the Main Street Minute. That's an e-newsletter that we publish and send out every Wednesday to over 5,000 local households, but it is jam-packed, full of information about everything going on in the downtown, specific to the merchants, events, restaurant specials, etc. So it's a really great source of information.
Perfect. And so as far as the participation for Virtual Boo, which by the way is like the cool name thing going, I dig it totally. So is there a maximum age, or will some non-kiddo age be able to do this?
Well, it depends on what part of Boo we're talking about. So for the coloring raffle, that's 4 to 14. But that's pretty much the only one that has an age.
Yeah, I mean, and then the Bonnie and Clyde is for adults, but
Sure.
The family costume contest, the regular costume contest, that's open to everyone.
Cool.
And the canine one, you have to have a dog, Keith, okay, for the canine one.
That's
right. That's a requirement. So
an assumption for sure. I just dig on it.
That monkey or anything.
Right.
Well, the Bonnie and Clyde thing cracks me up too. I'm thinking, I have 3 German Shepherds. They just don't, they stay where they live. That's what they do. I can't bring them out. It's like a vet thing. It's like 2 times a year they get out of the backyard, but they like it, so it's all good. So anything we missed that you'd like to share? Uh-oh, did I lose you?
No, I just said you could dress them up at home and take their picture.
There you go. I should probably try to socialize them, but it might be a little too late for that.
Angela, did we miss anything? Is there anything else?
No, I mean, not particular to Virtual Boo. Of course, we just want to encourage people to do their best to continue to support small businesses. There's still plenty of ways to do that safely, even if you're not 100% to the point of being better, ready to be out and actually going into places or, eating in restaurants. There's so many ways to support small businesses for free, like their posts, share their posts, buy gift certificates.
Right.
There's so many ways that you can still shop and dine safely and continue to support small businesses. And so we just want to continue encouraging people to do so.
Well said.
And I want to add that if you do not know of what restaurants we have in the downtown, you can always come to 421 Broadway if you just want to walk around the downtown. There's plenty of things to see. You know, a lot of people go to the lakefront and don't go any further. Come on out, walk the couple of blocks, come to the downtown. At Main Street, we have maps that will show you historical markers. It will show you the art that's downtown, the sculptures. It'll give you locations of all of the murals, the beautiful murals that we have. Courtesy of Osceola Arts. So there's plenty that, you know, right now with COVID, you know, there's not a lot of places that you can go, but this is out in the open. This is, you know, something that you and your family can do. Just walk around, take a look at the art, stop for some ice cream at Abracadabra, you know, go to Limbelados. There's plenty of choices. And if you just don't know where to go and you want, come grab a map at 421 Broadway and we'll find something for you to do.
There you go. I can only speak for myself. I enjoy the restaurants downtown, and I am doing that currently. I'm trying to get down there, and we love the whole downtown area. And you know, we're on the corner of Church and Stewart, so it's not a real hard walk for us to get something to eat. And so we do it as often as possible and keep working. But
Nice.
anyway, I really want to thank you guys for being a part of this tonight. Very much.
Thank you for having
Thank
us.
you for having us.
Need to do it more often.
Absolutely.
Again, so if anybody has any questions about what we discussed tonight, you popped in and said, "Oh, I wish I had been there," and you don't make it back to watch it after the live is done, you certainly can go to KissimmeeMainStreet.org or visit them certainly at Kissimmee Main Street itself. And so much going on. And like I said, I think when COVID is in the behind us, there's going to be this huge swell of what we all have been wanting to do for a while now. And so I know you'll be the great recipient of that. Probably going to need you more then than we do now. And so our hats off to you guys. You do a great job down there, and you're a necessary component for absolutely. And I think all businesses in downtown areas need to look to be closer to other businesses, and they can do that by leveraging what you do for business. So we thank you guys very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for having us. Have a good evening.
Honor. Again, this is Keith with Positively Osceola, along with Deanna Marrero-Pinto and Angela Mikolajek from Kissimmee Main Street. Together, we're making a positive difference in and around Osceola County. Have a great night, you guys. Thanks.